Good morning, everyone. It is David Schlotthauer here, and welcome back to another detailed tropical weather outlook and discussion for Wednesday morning, July 16th, 2025. In this update, I'm going to give you the very latest detailed information on what Invest 93L is going to do over the next 24 to 36 to even 48 hours as it moves west along the Florida coast into portions of Alabama, Mississippi, and even into Louisiana in the next couple of days. So in this update, we will be breaking down all those details as far as how much rainfall and wind impacts you're going to see. Now, if you haven't been here before and you do like these detailed tropical weather outlook and discussions on a daily basis, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon to get all of my tropical weather updates and live discussions, including also live breaking coverage on these tropical cyclones before they make landfall within 24 hours. Also, hit the like button and share this video with your family and friends on social media. So with that being said, here's a look at the latest GOES 19 true color visible satellite imagery provided by Dr. Levi Cowan at tropicaltidbits.com. There will be a link in the description below this video. And as we can take a clear look here at Invest 93L, it is not a tropical depression for many reasons, and that is because it lacks the organization that meets the definition otherwise of a tropical depression. We have a lot of burstiness of deep thunderstorm activity going on in the northeastern Gulf. Otherwise, if this was a lot more organized, then we would be dealing with a tropical depression. But as of now, this does not look very organized and very healthy at all for it to meet the criteria of a tropical depression as it made its way onshore yesterday near Jacksonville, Florida. And it is now currently located here in Tallahassee, Florida, just onshore of the Big Bend of Florida. Here's another way we could visualize what the system is doing at the surface. This is from Tallahassee on Mark Missenbaum Doppler radar website. And we can see where the low-level center might be located here. It's pretty hard to tell, but we have a pretty good idea and estimate based on our reflectivity where our rain is moving from. So first of all, we have a southerly wind right here punching in from the southerly direction into Tallahassee. And then if we look very closely here, we have a bit of easterly winds here. And then if we look down here at a couple of radar blips, we have a bit of a northerly flow right in here. So what it appears here is we may have what is left of the old circulation somewhere in the Tallahassee, Florida region, producing very little in the way of showers and thunderstorm activity, while we do have a nice good feeder band here producing some lightning strikes, some gusty winds, that sort of thing. So at the moment, this is a very, very poorly defined circulation and system. Nonetheless, even so, it is still deemed an invest as it moves generally towards the west at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Because the lack of organization with Invest 93L this morning, the latest National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida still maintains a 40% chance. That is a medium chance of tropical development in the next 2 to 7 days, as you see here on their latest update as of 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that's going to be the drill going forward here, because there is still a lot of uncertainty over the course of this period, whether or not will a tropical depression or storm form in the northern half of the Gulf. Right now, it is that 40% chance, and that's what I'm agreeing to with today's update. Now the question really becomes whether or not a closed surface low actually develops to meet the definition of a tropical depression with persistent deep convection over it. Looking at the latest 3-plot system from the GFS model, so we're looking at low-level winds here with the wind barbs coming in out of this direction at about 10 to 15 knots. Winds sharply curve around this wave pocket that is located roughly from central Gulf into the northeastern Gulf, right off the coast of Florida into Georgia and Alabama. So this is where we are really focusing on whether or not will this area of stronger spin able to hyper jump down here further south and reconsolidate and refire deep convection in order for it to reclose off and reconsolidate. So putting this into motion, this is for Wednesday morning. There is the main surface low. That's where we have possibly what is the remnants of the old circulation as it moved onshore in Jacksonville yesterday. And this is going to continue to be the theme going forward, that this wave pocket really will have a struggle to get its act together. And likely to do that is because we have a lot of northeasterly flow, the background flow hitting it from the northern side that we talked about yesterday. We have a lot of dry air also being encroached onto the system from the northern side as well. So all these factors here help to stretch out the vorticity pocket here with our invest. And because of that, systems do not consolidate very easily when they're stretched out like this from north to south, where we have a little bit of spin down here along this wave axis pocket into southwestern Alabama. And this is for Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. So this is pretty disheveled and well disorganized. I'm not even surprised if this does not get named or does not get even any more organized beyond this point. However, the GFS does show a little bit more of a concentration of vorticity and spin by early Thursday morning and later afternoon over New Orleans, Louisiana. When we look at the European model, a pretty much similar situation shapes up here. So this is for, again, Wednesday morning. There is the spin vorticity plot. This is a little bit ambiguous. I can't even say the word. Little tongue twister, folks. Apologize by that, but you get the idea. It is very, very sharp here, definitely with the northern lobe here being the strongest with this surface trough located from north to south. This is pretty dang sharp and pretty stretched. We actually had a mid-level, another area of spin down here earlier off of Key West last night that has since disintegrated, giving us an idea that this is definitely a pretty large pocket of spin in the atmosphere. When we go forward in time, though, you can see how some consolidation with a hyper jump down to the south over time will help, could likely help this reconsolidate somewhere down here just before making its final landfall into the far eastern coast here of Louisiana by late Wednesday into early Thursday morning, bringing a lot of impacts, lots of wind, lots of very heavy rainfall, and considerable flood concerns as well. So that moves on shore and disintegrates. Looking at the Canadian model, similar output here. Take note of that vorticity for Wednesday morning. That continues, but the Canadian model has a bit more better structure and handle on this with a little bit of lobes of spin here. These would likely be very strong thunderstorms producing water spouts, some tornadoes as well further onshore. Once those water spouts come onshore, they would transition to tornadoes, but you get the idea here. This large wave pocket. Now, when it comes to our high-res hurricane models, this is the HAVS A forecast. You can clearly see that it did a pretty good job at initializing on where our surface low is actually going to be by the morning hours here. This would be about 7 or 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Take note of the pretty strong low-level winds coming all the way around the old parent surface low that is up here. Very sharp wave innocuous trough that is in place here across the northeastern Gulf, producing those showers and thunderstorms this morning. And this is going to continue. Now, according to our HAVS A forecast, I want to make sure this is the latest run, and it is. This is the 0Z output. We definitely have a more coherent circulation and well-stacked vortex here where we are able to get some strengthening to take place just before the time of landfall. And this again would be that Thursday early afternoon time frame. Take note, near tropical storm force winds are occurring with this, with a central pressure down to about 1,007 millibars. The pressure still drops a little bit further here, down to as low as 1,004 millibars, making this more than likely a tropical depression at the time of landfall by Thursday late afternoon into early evening. Now, another model that I wanted to show you all is the HAVS B. So these are new hurricane models recently introduced over the last couple of years, and there's HAVS A side of things and the HAVS B side. And so we're now looking at the HAVS B side. which is a different type of model that's ran over again. And there's a circulation there, not as defined as what the HAVS-B shows here, but still defined enough. And so what it ends up happening is it tries to develop here with a pressure down at 1,003 millibars, which is decently low for this to be classified as a tropical depression. If not a low at the very lowest possible 39 to 40 mile an hour tropical storm here. And if it does get named, I want to be clear here, it doesn't mean it will. If it does, it would be Tropical Storm Dexter. This would be our 4th named storm of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. And that's the possibility here. There is still some consistencies here from our hurricane model side of things that this could end up still being a low-end tropical storm or a mid to high-grade tropical depression by Thursday. Now, the biggest concern with Invest 93L will be the amount of rainfall that this tropical system produces, especially over the central and southern portion of Louisiana, the southern half of Mississippi, and Alabama. And I'm not joking when I say that this is going to be the primary impact. Look at these rainfall totals over the course of 3 days. Okay, this is not the 5-day rainfall forecast. This is not over the next 7 days. This is over the next 3 days. And some of these rainfall totals from the Weather Prediction Center do forecast anywhere between 3 to 6 inches of rainfall down here in the southern half of Louisiana, possibly getting awfully close to even 5 to 6 inches down here in Baton Rouge, Gonzales, Louisiana, which is over here, as well as Cameron, which is right along the coast on the far southwestern side there. And then, of course, you got your state line there of Texas and Louisiana with up to maybe 1.5 to 2 inches there. So that's why there is now the extension of a moderate risk for flooding down here in the southern half of Louisiana. And I don't say this very lightly just to get views and stuff. This has the possibility of being a catastrophic flood event for portions here of southern Louisiana, and that is because of how much rainfall is expected to come down all at once. In fact, some rainfall rates could exceed 3 to 4 inches per hour, with some of the most prevalent intense thunderstorms that utilize very high PWatt values, which is total precipitable water in the atmosphere. And then, in fact, actually, let's bring that up very quickly from the HRRR model, just for simplicity reasons. And we can see here that there is definitely a lot of water in the atmosphere that this model is picking up. There is your tropical disturbance. And yes, look at all of that. That's 2 to almost 3 inches of water being stored in the atmosphere. And if that wasn't enough, look at this. Even the NAM 3-kilometer model indicating up to 2.5 to almost 3 inches of water. That's a lot of water being just bunched up like that in the atmosphere in Louisiana. And this is why any intense thunderstorm here will be very water loaded and will be more than capable of producing significant to potentially catastrophic flood impacts in streets, as well as rivers, small creeks, streams, and other low-lying areas. So please, folks, it is not about the wind. It is not about the storm surge. This is a big-time rainfall event that Louisiana will likely be facing as we go into Thursday and Friday. Now, when it comes down to the ensembles here, this is the GEFS ensemble, and as you can tell here, you might think twice about, wow, this is not really a big system at all because there's not many members, and some of you are actually correct on that. The GEFS ensemble is not as reliable as a European ensemble, but there is a couple of members here that do show redevelopment right before landfall in Louisiana. That is compared to our European ensemble forecast, which there are plenty of members here on the screen that do indicate that this could still re-strengthen right before landfall and have winds of 25 to 35 knots, which 35 knots, that is 40 miles an hour, and that is a tropical storm intensity. And in fact, there are a couple of members on here. It's really hard to tell on this screen, there are definitely a lot of dark blue line colors, which indicate winds of at least 30 knots, maybe slightly stronger than that. So I would not be surprised. There is a non-zero chance that this still becomes Tropical Storm Dexter right before landfall or right at the time of landfall. It's those one last minute things. And take note, there is not a lot of members here, which means this could still weaken and then rapidly reorganize right before landfall in Louisiana. Keep that in mind. As far as how strong Invest 93L will get over the course of the next 3 days, well, this is a look at the intensity plot from Tropical Tidbits, and as we can see here, winds are around 20 to 25 knots right now. Some slight strengthening is being indicated by most of the models over the next 24 to 36 hours, becoming a 30-knot system. So this could get close of becoming a tropical depression in about 1 to 2 days before it weakens. Now, most of the models here do not show this becoming a tropical storm. However, there are a couple of exceptions of that. Actually, there's one that shows tropical storm intensity in about a couple of days. But as far as it looks now, I don't see any models or within the 3-day forecast it becoming a tropical storm at all. Therefore, my intensity forecast is going to be on the higher end of the scale and does forecast this to become a 30-knot system or winds of 35 miles an hour, which means this is likely to become a tropical depression before it becomes a tropical storm. Looking at the hurricane model spaghetti plot here, you can see there are plenty of members that bring this now into Louisiana. So Louisiana now, yeah, it doesn't look good at all for your area, depending again how far south this gets. If this gets far enough south, then it will likely turn later and hit, say, Houston, Texas, which is very unlikely at this point. Versus if it continues off into the west-northwesterly direction, it stays overland and does not strengthen at all, and in fact will weaken. So there is a lot of uncertainty on whether or not this is going to become a tropical depression or storm over the course of 3 to 4 days. And I want to make that absolutely essentially clear in this video because there were some comments stating that, oh, David, this is not going to strengthen at all. It's going northwest or west-northwest. Well, so far it's actually heading kind of west right now. And so we will see whether or not it spends any time out here in the Northern Gulf. If it spends enough time out, then the thing or the system will likely strengthen to some degree. I don't see substantial intensification with this. I don't see a hurricane or a very strong tropical storm of winds 70 miles an hour. At the very most, 35 to 40 mile an hour winds is where I'm maxed out on this system for the time being. So a high-end tropical depression, a very, very, very low-end tropical storm. Now, before I do close out the video for this morning, I want to make a very, very clear, important statement for those that are watching this. I mean, it doesn't matter how strong this is going to get. If it's a tropical storm with 40 mile an hour winds, if it's a tropical depression with 30 or 35 mile an hour winds, that's not going to matter a whole lot here. Wind is not very important in this sense. Okay, what is going to be more important is how juicy and warm the atmosphere actually is, because warmer air will hold more moisture, right? That everyone should know that by now. And so the ending result here is look at how much moisture this is going to carry with it. All right, all the way into Louisiana, all the way into Mississippi. I mean, this is pretty dang serious. And all it takes, folks, here is let me zoom in here. All it's going to take is if you get a thunderstorm that stays over a given area for a long period of time. We're talking about storms that could train because of these rain bands that come on shore. And those storms could contain rainfall rates up to 3 to 4 inches an hour. And that is enough to lead to flash flood concerns on rivers, small creeks, small streams, river flooding. Well, I just said that. Street flooding, urban flooding. I mean, flooding kills people, and we saw that in Kerrville nearly a week and a half ago. So please, please take this seriously. It's not about the wind, it's all about the rainfall and flooding that this storm is going to have with it. In fact, you can see it here on the Weather Prediction Center with a moderate risk for heavy rainfall and flood concerns in Lafayette, Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana. If you're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I have friends that live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I am really, really concerned about them. Like Johnny T. West, you've left comments here on the live stream and on the video. This is for you. This is looking pretty bad. Alexandria in Louisiana under a slight risk for flooding. So again, not about the wind, storm surge. It's all about what? The flooding and water impacts that this storm is going to carry with it. Now, with that being said, I hope you take my advice seriously, folks, because again, flooding does kill people, and we do not want to have any more water rescues or fatalities from a system that appears weak on satellite and doesn't look to do much at all, because this system has a lot of surprises that it could hide behind anyone, and that is why I make these videos as often as I can for you all. But anyways, if you did enjoy this detailed tropical weather outlook and discussion on Invest 93L for Wednesday morning, July 16th, 2025, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, folks. It really helps out a lot because we are thinking about going live tonight ahead of 93L as it gets closer and closer to Louisiana. If not, we will go live certainly tomorrow early morning, as in Thursday morning. So if you have not subscribed yet, if you're new, you haven't been here before, please subscribe, because guess what? You will get notified if you hit the bell notification icon, hit the like button, and share this video with your family and friends on social media. Thank you all for watching. I'll be back with another afternoon upload today on this system if necessary.